king. You can act around now, say the same thing. They chasing the fame, they all want the name. But they ain't got what's running through these veins. Make way for the king.
What's up? Beck here with you. Another Proud Panthers podcast here on the Triad Talk Network and the exclusive home for all High Point University men's basketball coverage at Stephen Beck TTN and at Proud Panthers. Great ways to follow along with us on X, and appreciative of just continued partnership working with the full athletic department at High Point University at High Point Panthers for all their social media stuff and things that they do in the athletic department. It's a short turnaround for us this go around. Like I said, we got to get into the rhythms of 2 times a week, and as we get into the basketball schedule, that is definitive. Mondays, Fridays. If you're new with us, thanks for hanging out. That's usually the release date, and I say usually because honestly, schedules don't always align this way, but usually that's our release dates for this podcast. So Monday, Friday, fresh episodes. Catch them on all your major podcast catchers, but also our new launch of Triad Talk Network is another great, easy way to just plug in, get all you want of this, of me, of some of the stuff that we have upcoming. You can do that over on the site, triadtalknetwork.com. Today, we're getting back to some of the OGs, if you will, NOG of our Panthers program from last year. I know when I kicked things off this season, I said I'd like to try to get all the returners in first and then start going through some of the new guys. And this is just, again, as an early preseason way of introducing players, of getting folks acclimated to talking ball again. And honestly, a nice way for even myself to plug back in. We have been trying to cover all the players on the roster with an interview portion to just try to get to know them, try to share their story with you, talk a little bit of what they would like for this next season even. And so when I went with that plan originally, that was the idea. But again, like I said, we pivot, we move. So on the last episode, if you missed it, we actually covered a newcomer, CJ Brown. Again, podcast in the archives. Today's episode, though, we're back to one of the returners from last year's team. Going to be joined coming up here in just a few by Cam Fletcher. A good supporter of this podcast, actually. You know who you are. You're out there on the social medias. Actually put up a poll, I believe. I've seen a couple different polls of who should the Proud Panthers podcast interview next. And I think in one of those polls, if I have this right, I think Cam Fletcher was overwhelmingly, the majority of who some of the fans wanted to hear from that made a vote in that poll. So, hey, here we are. Wish come true. I'll go ahead and say, before we get too deep into today's episode and talk to him and going to be joined by him, the other person, though, that I know from last year's first Proud Panthers podcast season, I'm still going to go out and say is probably our most listened to episode we had. Dan Hauser, athletic director, going to be upcoming on this podcast as well. A year ago, it was a great episode. Again, Dan delivered in our most recent time sitting down together. We covered a lot. It was a good conversation, a good solid 40 minutes of just stuff that is really cool to be able to share with you guys. So some point or another, also want to stay tuned for that upcoming. When I think of Cam, I am just so happy to see him back in a Panthers jersey. And while I'm happy about that, I would be lying if I didn't say, when I heard this as a possibility, when I saw the official announcement, that I wasn't also a little bit just equally surprised. Not because I didn't think that our school, that our program, that the people running it, that the players involved weren't worthy of Cam coming back, that it wasn't a good fit, that it wasn't the right even place, honestly, for Cam to be, because I really feel that way. It's more just because I know the dynamics at play now in the college scope. I know how this works. If you have the talent that Cam Fletcher has, and I shared many times a season ago, I think I still feel this way now, really, in the limited time that I've even seen all the newcomers. But I think, bar and away, in terms of just sheer talent with the game, Cam Fletcher's the most talented player on the roster. He was last season. I think. I mean, again, I haven't seen the guys with all their time yet. I've basically just experienced practices, and jury's still fully out. Give me just a little bit of time, but Cam is talented. When you have that talent and you pair it with what he was able to do down the latter portion of the season, mixed with the resume pedigree, so to speak, that preempted Cam even coming to High Point, that all blended together as a recipe for a big-time Power 5 type school to come swooping in, say, we'll give you a bundle of money, and we want you to be in this Power 5 school again, like you've had before. Mind you, Cam has been around the block a little bit. He's been at Kentucky. He's also had some time at Florida State, had some time at Xavier. I mean, he's experienced a lot of that. But still, when that money is on the table and the check is sitting there in front of you and it's assigned almost, you could imagine, like a blank check that's signed in some ways, it's bound to be a hard thing to just turn and go the opposite direction, move away from. So you'll have to consider me just a touch surprised, just given all of that. Very, very pleasantly, happily surprised, I'll say. Yeah, last year for Cam was we kind of highlighted aspects of this when it comes to Conrad, but I think you could make a similar discussion out of Cam's season as well. But it was a bit of a tale of different parts. I don't know that it's fair to say halves, or in Conrad's case, I said it was really 3 quarters and a quarter. But just different parts of Cam's season presented different things. And I think for a hefty portion of last season, there were probably a lot of outside questions. Outside, almost you could consider it noise if High Point was one of those Power 5 schools. And in some ways, as a fan, it can be very frustrating. We're looking to change that. I know the administration at High Point are looking to improve that. Sometimes as a fan, it can be a touch frustrating not having High Point be a Power 5, because sometimes as a fan, you feel like, I want more information. I can't get all that I want. Where's the conversation? I'm rabid for this. I want discussion of it. And hey, I'm glad we're a small part of it here, looking to bring you more of it, by the way. But at the same time, High Point not being that way in some cases last year was kind of nice to know that we didn't have quite the heavy noise. It was reported, but it wasn't super like heavy, thick that, oh, Cam's not playing. What's the story with Cam? Why is Cam not this? And why is Cam not that? I get those questions. I definitely, from the fan perspective, yeah, like we all want our best players on the floor. We all want our best players performing, and we wonder why and how, and the different things that we're not always privy to. What I could share through a lot of that portion, though, is that I had private conversations around it at the time, and part of the conversation was always left with, just trust this. Just know that when the timing is right and everything is funneling into a position, everything will be ready. I think that's a good summarization of it. And I think that's really, honestly, how it played out. There is few other players that in the final 3 games of the season for High Point a year ago that performed better than Cam Fletcher. I say few because I'm always open to having the debates. I enjoy them. I think the debates like this are just kind of inner fan fodder. But like Rob, Chase, those might be 2 nominees for it. I don't know. Other people could probably make other cases too. But against Winthrop, against Wisconsin, and against Arkansas, it's Cam Fletcher for sure. You might want to enter some other people into the discussion, but the way that he ended the season was exactly how it was described to me that, it probably would play out when the timing was right, when things were aligned the way that they needed to be aligned and everything played into its position there. Things were going to click. And for Cam, man, things clicked. The Big South Championship game isn't won if Cam doesn't get 19 rebounds. That is an absurd number, by the way. If you don't see 19 rebounds and really just kind of question how's that possible? What did that look like? What it looked like from my memory is a dude that was just and sometimes on a mission, but just skying above the crowd to grab these rebounds down. In that game, double-double, 17 points, 19 boards in 29 minutes. Helps lead High Point to their second Big South Championship, second back-to-back NCAA tournament appearance. And then when the big boys come out to play, another double-double against Wisconsin and that upset win. And in the next one with Arkansas, where we competed our tails off and were very much in the game, the full flow, he had 25 points and almost just 2 rebounds shy of another double-double. Cam is going to play another just huge role in this year's team. It's cool to watch Cam and Braden and Conrad in practice so far this summer. And actually in the conversation I had with Cam upcoming very shortly here, he even shares himself, Conrad, Braden being an important element to working with all the newcomers, bringing everybody around, building the team in their togetherness and preparation as the season goes. And that's what I have already seen in the limited practice portions that I've been to. Cam seems very plugged in. He seems very much more almost like at peace in a way. And a lot has been said just between, talking with Flynn on this podcast, by the way, and talking with Cam in a conversation you'll hear upcoming. But their relationship, I think, just really was something that grew very strong and woven last year through all the different things that the team went through. So when you run it back with a program like this and a coach and you did certain things, you accomplished certain stuff, you got through certain difficult elements, that's battle tested. That really cements a lot, makes things a lot stronger. And I think all of that results in almost, like I said, like Cam's a little bit at peace with the whole situation here. It's like he knows his role. If he doesn't know his abilities, I'm happy to share it with him. So he should know his abilities. And all of that has led him now in this offseason to look as if he is primed for a great season ahead. Definitely Big South Player of the Year would be well within reach. I personally desire for him a complete season. You're talking about, we mentioned with CJ Brown in the last episode, the start to his collegiate career has had a lot of roller coaster type emotional big happenings, lots of different moving parts and pieces to it, and it's almost incomparable to somebody that's just been in college basketball for a couple of seasons to go through all of that. But you consider and you look back at Cam's career in college basketball, it's just been a lot of stuff going on. And so I would desire big for Cam to have that full, complete season, full, complete health, full, complete season. I think he's got the right coaching staff around him that he trusts a lot. Those relationships are vitally important. And I think, again, talent-wise, that's never the question here. So if we can marry the peace and the relationship aspects and just looking like I said before, he's just fully devoted and plugged in, and you marry that with the talent, there's some pretty darn special good things that can align there and probably happen. At Stephen Beck TTN, at Proud Panthers, love your feedback, your thought on that. We're going to take our break here. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Cam Fletcher. Got a few surprises in our discussions as well. And be ready for another new episode of this podcast coming up Friday. After the break, Cam Fletcher with us.
High Point University, the premier life skills university, is ranked the #1 best-run college in America by the Princeton Review. Employers value HPU's real-world preparation. Students love unprecedented access to global leaders on High Point's inspiring campus. And parents appreciate HPU's God, family, and country values. Choose to be extraordinary at High Point University.
All right, hanging out with Cam Fletcher here on the Proud Panthers podcast. Cam, thanks for taking time to spend with us here, and thanks for coming back, being part of the High Point family again.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
So we talked that at some point you'd like to maybe do your own podcast.
Yeah.
I know for you, fashion is something else off the floor that I think you enjoy.
Yeah, I do.
Something that you like.
I wouldn't say fashion. I just like to put on nice clothes and just get fly. So.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. So who's got the best fashion on the team?
Not including me?
Yeah, not including you.
If I would probably have to say maybe CJ Brown.
Okay.
I like some of the stuff he put on and some of the pieces that he put together with his fashion. I feel like he got a lot of good pieces. I feel like he heading towards the right direction, and because I know he likes to buy clothes and stuff like that. And I feel like he kind of dressed like the way I used to dress when I was around like 20, 21. So I feel like with time, he'll probably get on my level.
Who needs a fashion upgrade?
Who needs a fashion upgrade?
I'm just kidding. You don't have to answer that, but you can rate my
Flynn Clavin.
Okay, yeah. You could. Let's get your real take on this. All right, I got to know. You guys went and took a retreat recently, and during that time, I get they got to be relaxed. They got to be, you guys are putting in work hours. I think doing some home improvement and some other cool stuff that y'all were able to do as a team. But Flynn did rock a pair of sweats that may or may not have been a foot short because of his height. Do you recall that fashion statement?
I don't recall, but sometimes it could be considered fly. The way it just depends on how you put it.
That's true.
If you put it together in the right way, then it's the right way to do it. But
what would you rate my fashion
right now?
Sure.
I mean, it's cool for the type of swag you're probably going for. It's probably not my type of swag, but probably for what you're going for, it's cool for you. Yeah. I probably wouldn't wear it, but
dad bod.
Dad
bod with 2 kids, 38.
Yeah.
It's just this is what you This is what you do.
I might look
CJ's got a lot to look forward to.
yeah, right. I might look like that when I'm 40.
There you go. I'm not 40 yet, man. Give me
My fault.
2 years, and I'll be 40. Would you like to continue your career professionally in basketball after things are all said and done here?
1,000%. For sure. Basketball's all I got. It's the only thing I know. So I've been doing this my whole life. So I don't see this ending anytime soon for me.
I feel like there's been a number of times now in your collegiate career where you've had to miss time, miss games, miss practices. And when basketball is so important, like I know it is to you, that's got to eat at you. It's got to be hard. It's got to be really difficult in ways that people, fans may not even really understand. How difficult has it been for you, and how important do you think it would be for you this season to try to just get through it, no injuries, no issues, and just have the full amount of time you can on the floor?
Yeah, sitting out is very difficult, especially with injuries. But I just try to stay level-headed, talk to God, talk to my loved ones, people that I know that's genuinely there for me, and just control what I control. Whether that's rehab or staying on top of my school things just so I can stay eligible and things like that. Yeah, it's hard, but I just try to control what I control, honestly.
I know you're from St. Louis, and Rob Martin from last year's team was also right there from St. Louis Mo. So have you stayed in contact with him, any of the other guys, now that they've obviously taken a step further and forward?
Yeah, me and Rob talked basically every day. Even before we got to High Point, we was in contact with each other every day because we just knew each other for a long amount of years playing basketball with each other in St. Louis. And yeah, I still talk to all the guys. I still talk to Chase, Terry. Like just a couple other days ago, we were just cracking jokes in the team group chat about how Flynn used to get on Terry a lot. So all of us still stay in touch with each other.
That was a cool closeness that I saw, just continue growing throughout that run of a magical season. Do you feel like this team has opportunities that you guys could develop those relationships as we go and get close with one another?
Yes, for sure. I think it's kind of up to me, Braden, and Conrad to develop those relationships with the other guys that's just now getting here this year, because we're the returners and we know what it feels like to be close with your teammates, and we know the impact it could have on us during games and practices if we have a close relationship with our teammates. So I feel like it's kind of up to us three to stay on top of that and build relationships with everyone.
I guarantee after the Big South Championship game, of course, getting into the NCAA tournament, beating Wisconsin, also a very competitive contest against Arkansas, and the way that you played in all three of those games on such the stage that we were on, I'm sure there was high demand for your services after last year's season. So just out of sheer curiosity, like what really enticed you to want to come back, stay here at High Point for another season?
Well, I feel like the coaching staff, obviously Flynn and Coach Anderson and Rubes, having them here with me, and what I've been through this year, I feel like it was only right that I show them my side of the loyalty on their end and just come back and play for a good group of coaches and a good group of guys that I know I'll be with this year. It just felt like it was home for me. Well, now I know it's home for me doing another year here, but obviously it was schools that was coming at me and trying to get me and probably throwing more money at me. But at the end of the day, that really didn't matter to me. It was about how I felt with the culture. And I felt like High Point has the better culture than any other school that wanted me out there. So, yeah, I just wanted to come back and do it all over again.
I can tell that there's a sense of closeness between you and Coach Clayman, just the relationship you guys were able to develop in a small amount of time in 1 year's season. Was that also important to come back and be able to continue developing that relationship with him?
Yeah, for sure. Knowing that you got a coach that cares about you on and off the court is one of the most important things to me. I know I'm going to do good on the court, but off the court, nothing's perfect outside of everybody's personal life. So knowing that I could just have him there with me and be there with me every step of the way when I'm going through things with my family or school or anything like that, that was important to me.
Do you feel like over the course of your time here, I know the team has, with Shot Tracker even, I mean, I guess it's pretty obvious that we get up a lot of shots here at High Point. Do you feel like your outside shooting has maybe improved over the year and a half time that you've been here?
Definitely. Yeah. Flynn is going to make sure, because he wants to shoot a lot of threes. So, and if you can't space the floor, it'd be pretty hard for you to get on the court. So that was just something I had to develop when I first got here, and I feel like I did a good job at getting better at that. I still got a lot of work to do, but I'm pretty happy with where my shot is going.
When I feel like it really came alive again towards the latter part of the season. And I know sometimes with shooters, you can just get in rhythm and it just feels like you can't miss almost. Does any of that flood back? Like, did you feel that way in that conference championship game against Winthrop and maybe some of the NCAA tournament?
I feel like that every game for me. I just got a lot of confidence in everything I do. But yeah, definitely towards the last 3 or 4 games I did.
You are now a returner, so you were able to kind of see like how things were with last year's team, history-making team here at High Point. But now you're able to kind of compare that and see what it's like for the summer workouts that you guys have had. What kind of comparisons are there, if any, between the two?
Right now, I feel like it's kind of hard to compare because we haven't played a game yet or been thrown in any adversity right now to bounce back from what we could have been going through. But I feel like this summer is definitely, we worked way more harder than last summer, just because we know the standard that we have to live up to and where we want to get to now. And we also know that it's like possible to go to the tournament and it's possibility that we can make a run. So we're just working a little more harder than we did last year.
I know season to you guys may not feel like it's very close, but it's gonna happen fast, you know, over the next few weeks, with especially the fall semester starting. So as you look ahead, what excites you the most? Is it maybe some of the games that are on the schedule, the teams that we're able to have on that schedule and play this year? Is it just finally having some live action of basketball as opposed to just, you know, practice and workouts? What gets you really revved up the most?
What excites me is just playing games. I mean, we practice every day, and sometimes practice get boring. I feel like everybody could tell you that, because just going against your teammates every day, they know what you're going to do. They know the plays, so they can cheat the plays. But when you just step in between those lines and you got another opponent on the other side and you have your team behind you, it's just a different feeling. So I'm honestly just ready to just play basketball, especially in St. Louis. We got SLU on the schedule this year, so that'll be a very good game. 2 good teams. So we'll see how that goes.
Will you have a generous amount of family and friends?
We'll have 60 people in the stands.
You have to be buying off or trying to figure out deals with your teammates to get the tickets. So I completely understand. That is exciting. That's a really cool opportunity. All right, cool, Cam. I appreciate you taking the time, man. We look forward to you again being a part of the team here this year, and wish you guys best of luck.
Thank you for having me.
You ain't gotta like me, but my